What is architecture?
Well, we tend to think that architecture is what architects attempt to communicate. So it can take many forms in that sense. It's not only buildings, but also a huge variety of types of drawings, texts, photographs, and these different things are not in a hierarchical relationship to each other in our eyes. And so in that sense it's a language, but not in the meaning of a vocabulary, a syntax, a set of elements to use in a certain manner, but perhaps more in the sense of a capacity to address. So to address society at large, but also other architects, of course. And yes, so I would say that.
Okay. And what can architecture do?
So as a mean or as a capacity to address, it can do a quite big variety of things, but perhaps we are especially interested in the capacity of architecture to erase predeterminations, to open possibilities in a way. So of course certain architectures are perhaps more interested in asserting let's say answers more than questions, but we are more let's say we cherish more the capacity it has to open a field, and therefore to let new ways of being exist. So to give them visibility, to inspire in a way, and to offer the possibilities of new ways of life. That would be it, I think.
What is your architectural position?
Well, as I was saying, like we are not so interested in affirming a position in a way. Also, we are a bit, let's say, concerned, or we find a bit tragic the way the architectural scene and society in a wider sense is splitting into, let's say, very strongly affirmed positions that seem to believe that their concerns cannot be shared by others. And so we believe, let's say, we hope that architecture can perhaps find a state of naivety towards or at least not be concerned by affirming the position of the architects, and therefore allowing its audience, and so both users and people concerned by architecture to affirm their own. Yeah.
What is your design method?
So, well, that's a wide question, but well, like the others, but we explore the different types of representation of architecture, and we are interested in how these types of representation impact the architecture we do. So it's so in a sense it's a reflective method, one could say. We're interested in doing architecture that is impacted by these choices, and so that's why, let's say, drawing and representation have a huge importance in our practice. And And yes, the aim is to, of course, never take, let's say, pre-existing constraints as an excuse for normalization. So to not, let's say, by following what we want to communicate through representation, I think we shift the focus and try to avoid these, normalization, if that means anything, or the normative.
Okay. And the last question, the new question would be, what is the future of architecture, in your opinion?
That's a good question. Of course, let's say, I think it will. Let's say, of course, there are huge shifts within our world these days that architecture will have to address in a way or another. But we tend to believe that, let's say, what is really at stake for architects is how they can still let the projects, as I was saying, open to. I believe that, say, these shifts should not be excuses for determinisms, and so I think that's in our eyes the main challenge would be that, like, how to still make it open for changes that is not driven by an architect telling you how you should live, in a way. I think that's so that's not exactly answering the question, but it's at least stating where we think the energy of architects can be put, in a way. Yeah.